Welcome, Whole Lifers, to the Health Over Everything podcast. I'm Steven Zee.
And I am SoCal Goulah. Today, we're going to talk about fasting and the challenges of quitting smoking. And also, we might throw in there some of our progress with our health and our physical health and our muscles, like our back and our knee. So let's get into it. Are you ready, Steven?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so to start, I am on a 48-hour fast. It's crazy, huh?
Yeah. How do you feel?
48 hours. No eating for 48 hours, just water and Celtic salt. So that's what a lot of people have been asking me. What have you eating? What are you allowed to eat? Are you allowed to drink anything like bone broth? And no, I'm just water and Celtic salt. I actually think the bone broth comes in if you go longer than 48 hours, but I'm on a 48-hour fast. I am actually, let's say, still doing it right now. I'm 42 hours in, so I got 6 more hours to go.
Doesn't bone broth have calories in it though?
It does have calories in it, but some people say when you do
That's
the longer
cheating.
fast, yeah, that's what I thought too. I'm like, is it cheating or not? Like,
It's
but
cheating in my opinion.
yeah, so you shouldn't do it. Yeah, but some people are like, oh, when you get past 72 hours or something like that, you should use bone broth to get like some nutrients in or something. But I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't do that because I want to be a real fast of just water.
Yeah, because if you get calories in, then your body is technically out of the fast because it's having to, process the calories, the bone broth.
That's true. So
Even though it's probably minute, but in my
yeah.
mind, you know, I'm
Yeah, so if
I'm
you're
a
watching this
hard
on YouTube, put in
individual.
the comments if we're cheating, if that's cheating or not, because we need to know. Um,
Now, what do you
or
think?
or just hit us up on X. Yeah, so 42 hours, I actually feel pretty good. Like I
Nice.
feel clarity. I definitely feel skinnier. Like when you feel skinny, you don't eat. Because like
Hmm.
when you eat a lot, you feel bloated and fat, even if you are skinny. Like
Yeah.
I feel like the opposite of that. I feel like just super skinny. There's nothing in my stomach. I tried to take a number two this morning and there's nothing in there. Like it's just kind of funny feeling. I do
All
feel a
cleaned
little bit
out.
of hunger. I have felt a little bit of hunger along the way, but it kind of like comes and goes. I don't know. I think my body
Hmm.
adjusts. But I think the worst part was the beginning, the first like 8, 9 hours. That's when I was like
Hmm.
still pretty hungry. I was like, oh man, I'm like thinking about food left and right. I'm like thinking like, oh, I should just go get something. Oh wait, no, I'm on a fast. It's like you kind of forget you're on a fast. You just like it's routine. Just like, oh, I just got to go eat. So it's
Did
kind of
you start
crazy.
your fast like in the middle of the day, or did you have like something to eat at night and then slept?
Yes, I started it at 1 p.m. on
Oh,
Friday. That
okay.
was my strategy because I was thinking if I go 1 p.m. on Friday, I could just do half a day, of
Hmm.
not eating, and that'll be the first day I could do that. And that's when I was actually the hungriest and thinking about the most of the food. And most of the time was that period, that half a day after I ate.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to sleep. So then boom, those hours are easy. And I slept
Yeah.
in as long as I could on Saturday. And so I could just try to get through as many hours as possible. Woke up and I've just been lying around pretty much doing nothing because I don't want to, been recovering from the gym as well, but also like just
Mhm.
to not expend too much energy so I could, you know, not be hungrier. So trying to keep as many calories in as possible. So I'm not expending calories.
Yeah.
And then so all Saturday, all day yesterday, I've just been sitting there laying around, kind of watching movies, working on the podcast and things like that, making clips. And
Okay.
the only part yesterday that was hard was around dinner time because I went on Twitter X and I just everyone started posting their food and I'm like, could you all just stop posting your food for about another 20 more hours
Uh,
here? Like the food just started looking really good. I'm like, oh my God, I want to eat that. I want to eat this. I want
yeah.
to eat that. Just oh man, it's just crazy. You don't think how much you think of food. And then now today I go to sleep again on Saturday. And then now today it's just half a day. So it's like one full day and then two half a days. And now I'm only, 6 more hours to go. And
Nice.
so, yeah, those are the two hard parts, just the first part and then looking at the food yesterday of everyone posting food.
I
Like, maybe
almost sent you I almost sent you a picture yesterday too of my plate I had for dinner, and I'm like, oh wait, he's on his fast. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna do that to him.
yeah, like I walked outside my room and seen the family here that I live with. They had Miguel's Jr., which is Mexican food. And
Uh,
I just like, as soon as I seen it, I'm like, oh man, that looks good. I could eat that when I'm done. So I'm just thinking about all the
all
food that
salivating.
yeah,
Oh.
I know I'm on the fast. I'm not gonna eat, but I'm just like thinking like what I can eat when I get off the fast. I'm like, oh, I could eat this. That would be really good. Oh, I could eat this steak. That would be really good.
Yeah. I've heard of people too. Like I've never done like a long fast like you're doing, but I've heard people say like, oh, when you start to introduce foods again, you should start kind of more gradual, like things that are more easily digestible, maybe like fruits, and then kind of work your way up to like, chicken and other things like that. Are you
Yeah,
gonna do
that
something
ain't
like that
happening.
or
No.
no? You gotta fuck
Like
that.
there's all these specific rules. I don't know. Maybe I'm just different. Like I'm just gonna eat like a steak and eggs. I'm actually thinking about going to Denny's. Like that's what I ate last time when I broke my fast.
Right.
Just steak, eggs, and hash browns. Isn't too crazy, but and I don't know. Maybe I'll eat some pancakes too. Just yeah, like I'm craving pancakes. I'm gonna go back on my diet after that meal, but pancakes just sound really good, and but it's definitely gonna make a spike in your blood sugar after you eat that, because
Yeah.
you're it's so low right now of everything. But it's pretty funny. Like it's pretty cool to fast, just like a mental test. You
Hmm.
should try it out. Like it's pretty cool.
I might have to pick a weekend and dedicate it to that.
I do it once every four. Now I just started. This is the second time. I've done like
Okay.
24-hour fast in the past, but this is a second longer fast. I read in a book to do it like once every season. So like I've done it in the changing of the seasons in winter, and now this is coming into spring, which is next week. But I just figured next week I got things to do, so I'll do it this week. Yeah,
Okay.
so basically 4 times a year I'm going to do it. My first fast was 40 hours. This one's 48. So I did this one, and 6 more hours. I got that pretty easy. I'm going to do it. But the next one, I think I'm about adding to 6 hours every time. So I'll go 54 next time, and then 60, then 66, then 72. Well, I'm trying to work my way up to 72. But then I think
All
maybe I
right.
should just do 72. Like, like not even work my way up. Just go do 72. Maybe like I'll do 50 something or 60 the next time, and then do 72 the next time. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's
So I
crazy.
was gonna I was gonna
Oh,
ask you. So obviously you lose weight during your fast.
yes.
Does the weight pretty much like pack right back onto where you were once you go back to your regular diet, or do you kind of still lose a little bit of weight? Like it won't go
No,
back
I
to
think you'll
normal.
definitely lose a little bit of weight. Like I was,
Okay.
so I had just to say, like I did eat really bad that day because I knew I was going to do this fast. So I had some Wingstop, and I had a chocolate brownie at Wingstop and a soda. So, and then I had a couple donuts in the morning. So I was just thinking, like, let me just pack with a lot of calories, a lot of carbohydrates and sugar. So it has it to deplete it, help me last through this. So that's probably, I don't
Hmm.
know if that's probably not the best thing. Like you might have to eat protein, like you were saying earlier
Uh-huh.
before we started to get on this podcast. Eat a lot of protein, but I ate a lot of carbs and sugar to help me
Okay.
through it. But it helped, like, but I started at 196, and now today I'm at 190. So I lost 6 pounds, and I
All
still
right.
got 6 hours. So I'm probably going to lose a little bit, but it's crazy because um, I would lose weight. I would be at 192, and then I'd drink some water, and then I'd be at 193 again. So it's the water weight gets in there. But I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
obviously, you're going to gain it back, but you're probably going to you're probably definitely going to lose a little bit as long as you don't just over consume a bunch of calories. Like, I'm not going to go eat 3,000 calories,
Yeah.
one
Because
meal
I'm
at
thinking
Denny's.
maybe you started at 196, and then once you start to introduce food back into your diet, then maybe you'll go back up to like 193, 194.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a
Yeah.
little bit of a weight loss.
And that 196 was after I ate the Wingstop, like
Mm.
immediately after I ate the Wingstop and the chocolate cake and the soda too. So I was filled with food. So I was technically probably a pound or two less than that before I ate the food.
Yeah.
So I don't know, we'll see. But as long as you get back on it and you just stay on your diet, your healthy diet too, you should be losing weight since I was losing weight already again from
Hmm.
being on my diet for 3 weeks again. So, but it's crazy because I wanted to talk a little bit about the fasting process, right?
All right.
So like your body has depleted in the first like 41 hours. So I just put on ChatGPT, so I'll just read some of the things off of there. The first 41 hours, your body has depleted its glycogen stores, which is the primary source of the energy derived from carbohydrates. So your body, when you stop eating, it basically breaks down all the glycogen, all the food, like the sugars and carbohydrates. That's what it does first. So like basically all the food that you're eating, like so that soda and that chocolate cake and those donuts and everything, and the Wingstop as well, it's breaking all that down first. So it's all the glycogen levels, and then it transitions into ketosis with glycogen stores. When the glycogen stores deplete, your body starts breaking down the fat that produces ketones for energy. This metabolic state is called ketosis. So after it breaks down all the glycogen, then it goes into ketosis. So basically, it breaks down all the food first and all the sugar, and then it starts breaking down the actual fat in your body. So that kind of goes where you're saying. It says it takes 24 to 48 hours to start getting into
Okay.
ketosis. So even though I'm on a 48-hour fast, it might not be breaking down totally all the ketosis. I don't know how much glycogen I have in my body, but
Uh,
it starts breaking down the actual fat. So I would assume that you would lose a little bit of weight because it starts breaking down the fat, and the ketosis.
yeah.
And but after 48 hours, that's why I want to do a longer one, like a 72 hours, because then that whole next day would be breaking down fat and ketosis. So that's probably, for a fact that's breaking down the fat. Then there's no more glycogen levels in your body because you put none in, right? So it starts breaking down all the fat out of your body. So the longer you go, the more fat it breaks down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then it says, as ketosis progresses, your body becomes more efficient at oxidating fat for energy. And then you also decrease insulin levels. Insulin levels drop, allowing your body to access stored fat more easily. And then what I want to talk about is the what's it called? Autophagy. I don't know how it's really pronounced. Autophagy. I don't know how do you spell it. It's auto and then Phagy. How would you pronounce that? Phagy.
Autophagy?
Figuring. But anyhow, that's a process. I call it autophagy.
Probably
Autophagy.
autography or something.
Pathagory or whatever it's called. So anyhow, oh, this is hard about all this stuff. It's can't even pronounce these words. But when you fast, it triggers autophagy, and it's a process basically where your cells clean out damaged components and recycles them for energy or
Autophagy.
repair. Huh?
Autophagy.
Autophagy. That's it. Autophagy. Okay. There we go, buddy. See, Steven's the smart one here. I'm good at math and the numbers and on he's the smart one. Um, how say it again?
Autophagy.
Autophagy. Yeah. So autophagy is what I do in the fast for. Yes, the weight loss is good, but I could just lose late. I could use get weight loss just by a diet over time. Like how
Yeah.
you've been. So we could do that. But autophagy, um, it basically when you fast and you stop eating, your body starts um, cleaning out all the damaged and bad cells out of your body. So they could be things
Um,
that could be creating cancer in the future, like these bad cells in your body. These bad cells and stuff, they kind of like thrive on sugar. So they eat sugar and they thrive on sugar. The more sugar you eat, and that's what a lot of people say cancer might come from. Who knows? But
yeah.
these bad cells, you're eating a bunch of sugar and processed foods, and it thrives on that and it grows. But by fasting, there's no sugar in your body, so then it starts killing these dead cells. I could just imagine a bunch of cells in your body, good ones and bad ones, and the bad ones are just poof, poof, poof,
Yeah.
just
There's nothing to
disappearing,
eat.
just dying, just dying.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm kind of doing it for. The main reason I'm doing fasting is for the, how do you say it again?
Autophagy.
Autophagy. So that's what I'm doing it for, the autophagy process, and that's what it does. So like I hear that people that fast for, especially for longer periods of times, around 72 hours, lowers their chances of getting cancer. So
Mm.
like that's my main reason of doing it, because I could lose weight, but
Yeah.
you can't get that bad cells. And some things also by eating like antioxidants like berries and stuff that helps out kill out bad cells too. But this is a good way. So I just imagine my body right now, just all those bad cells, it's just dying out. And this is only a 48-hour fast because I'm kind of new to this. It's only my second time, but eventually I'm trying to get to a 3-day fast, and then I'll probably just stick with that. So then that process can help out even more. So that's my main reason. So that's a good piece of information for you guys that are looking to fast. And also, fasting can do hormonal changes. Fasting can affect the hormone levels, such as increased production of growth hormone, and which can aid fat loss and metabolism, and it gives you mental clarity as well. Some people experience improved mental clarity and focus during fasting, likely due to ketone production and changes in your neurotransmitter levels. So that's what it says on ChatGPT, and that's kind of some of the information that people could use when they're fasting.
Yeah, I remember a guy talking about, I think he was vegan, but he was talking about, he fasts for a couple of days in between, throughout the week. And he was saying that he's actually able to get gains because of the growth hormone aspect of it, that his body is producing more growth hormone. So even though he was vegan,
Hmm.
he's able to pack on muscle. I'm not sure the science behind it. I think this is just his opinion about it. I don't know. I haven't looked into it if there is actually scientific evidence about it, but
Yeah.
that's interesting that you said that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't even think about that, but yeah. So maybe when I go back to the gym, I'll gain a little bit more
Bulking up.
muscle.
You're on steroids, bro.
Yeah, look at them muscles, boy. Yeah. So that's a fasting state right now. If you have any other questions, hit me up on SoCal Goulah 8 on Twitter, on X, and just ask them and I'll answer. But yeah, that's pretty much the fasting process. Um, Pretty cool. Like I do feel energetic, even though I've been haven't ate. I feel a little hungry. Feel like an empty stomach, but it's all mental. Like that's another thing I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
mental. Like I just seen a post yesterday, right? This guy that lifted his hand in the air, and it's some Indian dude, and he's kept it up there for like 50 years or something like that. And his hand's just like totally skinny now, like it's like a bone, and it's all like it's stuck there now. But I was just like, that's the power of when you put in your mind to something. When you put your mind to something, you can accomplish anything. And I was
Yeah.
telling somebody this recently, like when I'm at the gym and I'm running on the treadmill, if I go in there thinking like I'm just gonna run a mile, like I do the mile, that's it. And even then I'm tired. I'm like, man, I can't do another mile. Like I'm done. But when I go in there and be like, I'm gonna do 2 miles, and I'm a mile in and I think I'm done, I'm like, no. My mind said I'm doing 2 miles, I'm doing 2 miles. So what the mind says and what you believe you're doing, you do it. Yes, my knee's hurting. And I'm like, I'm tired. It's hard to run, but I'm doing that 2 miles because the power of the mind. Same
Yeah.
thing with this fast. Like I'm doing a 48-hour fast. Yeah, I felt hungry around 20 hours, 24 hours. But I know, like, no, I'm doing a 48-hour fast. I can't eat. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to accomplish this goal. And your mind just makes it happen. Like I'm thinking 48 hours, I'm going to go eat. I'm going to go eat a nice meal after this. But if I
Yeah.
really just been like, I'm doing 72 hours, I could do it. Like there's no doubt in my mind. Like I'm just doing 48 hours this time. But if I was literally like, I'm going to do 72 hours, I would do 72 hours. I just wouldn't eat for I can make it through it. Even if I feel hunger, I'm feeling maybe a little weak and tired from not eating,
Mhm.
I would still do it because I'm like, I'm not going to die from it. I'm just got to do it. Just got to work, push through the pain and just realize you got a goal and you're going to do it. So that's just another thing, the power of the mind. If you're trying to do a long fast, it's all the power of the mind. Just get it done, know you're going to do it and push through the pain. And yes, you're going to have hunger, but just be like, yeah, that's just hunger. It's going to go away. It's just a temporary thing. You might be hungry, like I'm hungry right now, and then 30 minutes right now, when I'll stop thinking about it, I won't think about it and I won't feel it, and just keep pushing.
Yeah. That reminds me of back when I was doing my first little fitness journey. I used to kind of tell myself that I'm like, it's like where your mind goes, the body will follow because there's areas that, when you're, especially when you're working out, that you get into like this area where you're feeling the lactic acid buildup and you get that burning feeling in your muscle and your mind's telling you like, all right, we're done. This hurts. But if you can kind of overpower that with your mind and say, no, we're not done. We're getting to 15 reps. If you start feeling the burn at 10, it doesn't matter. We're still squeezing out these last five or however many more you got left in the tank. So it kind of, I relate a lot of things to working out, but your mind, I think, plays a big fact or a big part in almost every aspect of your life. You know what I mean? Whether
Yeah,
it's your diet, there's going to be times where you're tempted by food, you're going to have to say no. Um, your mind strength and your ability to kind of, I don't know, will your what you want into existence, I think plays a big role if you're going to hit your goals or not. You can't go into it with a weak mindset because you're just going to give up. So, and I think by practicing building that willpower, it gets stronger over time. It's just like a muscle. Your mind will get stronger, it will get more disciplined, and you get to the point where, you're sticking to your diet and you don't have to think about it. When you see food, the temptation isn't as strong and you just keep getting better and better the further along that you practice on building that mental strength.
exactly. And like the willpower you say, like, that's just practice. It's like that's why I ran a marathon. I ran 2 marathons, like I'm doing these long fasts and then just going to the gym consistently every day and working out even when you don't want to, doing these
Yeah.
things. These are all just tests and of like, can you do it? And like you're like thinking like that's a long time. That's really hard to run a marathon. It's really hard to not eat for that long. And but you know that you can do it. Like I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's all it is the willpower, what you're talking about. It's just saying you test yourself and you do it. And when you get it done, then you know you have the fortitude and you could do it. So then you put that in all aspects of your life. I know I can sit there and deal with something that's stressful at my job or something because I know I could will get through things that take a while, and stuff like that. It's just practice and getting
Yeah.
building up that mental toughness.
Yeah, I think it's a maybe an aspect of it too is you're building up your discipline
Yeah,
because a lot of people will say in the fitness realm is that motivation is good for you, but it's only going to last you for so long. You're not going to be motivated the rest of your life to work out. So in those moments where your motivation isn't there, you're going to need your discipline to kick in and say, no, this is what we do. We're working out where there's not really a debate in your mind like, oh, are we going to work out today or not? It's just like, no, it's something we do, so we're going to do it. It's kind of like I feel like I've gotten into that point where I wake up, like I don't ask myself, are we going to work out this morning? It's just I do it. I don't ask myself if I want to do it. If I don't want to do it, it's just something that's kind of part of my routine and I just go at it and have at it.
exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, I want to ask you that when you talked about lactic acid, so when
hmm
you're working out, because I kind of worried about that, when you're doing, let's say, a lift,
hmm
once it starts hurting, is that what the lactic acid is? Is like what? Can you explain that a little bit? Like, what is the lactic acid? Is that what makes
Yeah,
the
it
pain?
yeah, it's that like burning sensation where you can still lift it and push past it, but it's a painful feeling. And you have that it's like a burning feeling in your muscles. But let's just say you get to 10 reps and you can feel the burn. You could probably do it for another 5 reps or more if you're willing to push your mind and your body past that point. But and then a lot of people say, I've heard people say like, oh, I don't count the reps until it starts to hurt because that's where it really starts to count. And a lot of people will say that that is where your growth is. Those last reps that are in where you're in pain, you need to get to those reps to get the maximum amount of growth, muscle growth. So I
So
don't
I could
start
imagine like
until it starts getting painful. I've heard people say that.
so
So
once it starts getting painful, like is your muscles just like tearing and like producing acid, you think, or what is it? Like, do you know?
yeah, I haven't thought that far into it. I'm not sure
I
the
gotta
the
look it up.
science, yeah, the scientific reasoning behind why you get that burning sensation.
I guess I gotta look at the YouTube about this because that's pretty interesting. I thought about that recently. But anyhow, switching gears,
Switching it up.
that is all we have to say about the fasting process and the mental toughness behind all that. And now we're going to talk about quitting smoking and the challenges of quitting smoking. So I quit smoking. Like I quit smoking a couple times and then went back to it. Like I only smoked cigarettes when I drank, and I haven't drank in a while. But the last time I drank, I didn't smoke. So, but I really wanted one. I was like, oh my God, I really want a cigarette, but I somehow stopped myself from doing it.
Nice.
But I haven't smoked a cigarette or smoked weed in 218 days, which is
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna get to a year. I'll
Congrats.
probably that's all. This is already my longest, even though I have quit for long periods of times before that. Like I quit
Mhm.
for 100 and like 200 days one time, or like 197 days. Then I'm like, oh, I went out drinking and had a cigarette. Just one or two. So it wasn't as bad as I used to be. Like when I used to drink 4 or 5 times a week, I would smoke like all the time. And
Yeah.
then I smoked weed. I kept going back to the weed. I would like hit up the gummies. I'm not gonna smoke. I'm just gonna do the gummies. But then they wear like I get adapted to them, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go smoke. But you just
Yeah.
recently stopped smoking again. You're like, so I think I'm pretty much good with the smoking, pretty much, except
hmm
for maybe a cigarette when I want to get drunk. But I don't get drunk, so like I barely drink. I drink like 1 or 2 times a year.
Nice.
So, but you had kind of a challenge with drinking, right, or smoking. And
Yeah.
can you explain some of that? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was the whole like New Year's thing. I'm like, oh, it's New Year's. I'm gonna smoke. I'm gonna get a vape, and
Wait,
then
before that though, before you get into that, before that you already stopped smoking, right? Before New Year's, you
yeah.
stopped smoking for how
I'm not
long?
sure. I'm not sure how long I was smoke free at that point. I
Okay,
think
so
I
basically
think
like
the
for a few
weed it was
months or so.
like 3 months or something, and the vape maybe longer.
Yeah, okay. So you were smoking and then you stopped smoking for 2 to 3 months
hmm
before New Year's, and then what happened? Yeah.
Yeah, I just decided, it's the end of the year. I'm gonna let loose a little bit. I've been disciplined for so long. I'm refraining for this long. I'm just gonna do it for one day. And I should have known better because I tell my fiance this. I'm sure I told you this. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but when I go back to things like that, like I'm back. It's like I'm back in the game. They put me
Back
in.
in
I'm
action.
like all or nothing. And my fiance, she's asked me that, like, why can't you just do it like every once in a while on the weekend? I'm like, I don't know what it is about me. I don't know if it's like I have self-control to not do it, but once I introduce it into my life, it's like with the weed thing, I'll start smoking. Like I do enjoy smoking from time to time. No, I don't know. I do like the way it feels, but then I always feel like I get to a point where I'm not getting as high, and I'm just in this like middle ground where it's like I'm not really enjoying the high, and I'm almost just doing it to try to chase that high of like when I first start.
Yes, I know that feeling.
And then then I'm doing it more frequently too. So first off, like, oh, I'm just gonna do
Yep.
it this weekend, and then it starts off like, all right, now I'm doing it in the morning, I'm doing it in between lunch, I'm doing it at lunch, and I'm doing it, 6 times a day to try to catch this high that I can never get to again, it seems like. So I always end up at that point where I'm like, why the fuck am I even smoking anymore? Like, I'm not getting that high. Like, I like getting so high that I'm just fucking laughing and giggling and like I have my fucking crazy thoughts that I think about. But after a while, I don't get all that. So it's like the benefits of it aren't there, but I'm still doing it because I'm looking for those aspects of it that I do enjoy. So, I think I've gotten into the point where like I'm happy without it. And I need to remember that when I start, like how hard it is for me to kind of stop again, which, when I did for New Year's, I did the weed and vaping. So I was able to quit the weed thing pretty quick. I think I told myself it was going to be 2 days, but it ended up being like a 2 week thing. And then I'm like, all right, I'm done. And then, the part of your brain that likes to play tricks on you is like, all right, well, since you stopped smoking weed, let's just vape for a little bit longer so to help you not crave smoking weed.
Uh,
So I did that for probably a month or so, and then yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago where I'm like, I've had that little I feel like probably everyone who goes through the process of trying to or attempting to quit a habit is that voice in your head. It's like you get used to the habit, like, oh, I smoke when I have coffee or I smoke on the way to work. So when you start to do these things without it, it's like your brain's like, wait a minute, we're driving to work. How come you're not vaping? And it's like you have
yeah.
this strong urge to want
Yep.
to do it, but after
So
like a
true.
week or so, that urge kind of goes away, and then I feel like I'm fine. But that week of doing that is fucking, I don't know. For me, it's hard.
Oh no, for
So
me it's hard too. Yeah.
yeah, and the same thing with weed. The weed, when I first stopped smoking weed, like every time I quit, I always have trouble going to sleep, probably for I'm gonna say anywhere from like 3 to 5 days, where I'm just like laying in bed and I can't sleep. It's because I'm
Uh-huh.
used to getting high and just passing out.
Mm.
And without it, I have difficulty sleeping. So it's like these aspects of it. Like once I get to a certain part where I'm like, all right, I'm already past that point where I'm actually able to sleep again. Like I'm not gonna go back to smoking because I'm gonna have to do that, restart that week again, and that's fucking retarded to keep doing that, that loop over and over. So I have the discipline to not do it, but once I'm in, it's hard for me to stop. Like that's that's how
Yeah.
I am. I don't know if it's like that for everyone else, but that's kind of how it is for me.
And then do you think like some of it, because you said that I enjoy smoking from time to time, like do you think you need to get that out of your head? Because then it's like I enjoy smoking. So you're already obviously you're um attaching it to something good. Like, oh, I enjoy
Mhm.
it. So it's like a good thing instead of like just brainwash yourself and just be like, just say it, even though you're
Yeah.
just
Well,
say I
as I
hate smoking. I don't ever enjoy it because it makes me lazy. It makes me because I noticed a little too in the beginning of the year. You didn't tell me you were smoking again, but I was just like, he just seems a little off. Like, doesn't seem like he's like all there. And like when I call you, you have that tonality, like, yeah. And I'm just like, what? Like, so now I know, like, next
What's
time you're
wrong
acting
with
like
you?
that, you're smoking. You just have like
Yeah.
total, and almost like you're kind of like a different, like, you have drunk Steven and sober Steven. It's
Yeah.
kind of like you have high Steven as well. And it's just,
It's
you
it's
are
funny
definitely
too,
a different person.
because as I was saying, like I enjoy it from time to time. Like I don't think I do. I think I enjoy the idea of it,
Hmm.
but I don't enjoy getting caught back up into the routine, everything that comes along with it.
Yeah.
I'd rather
You fell
just be
off.
be sober and like focused in a straight line and not have these like ups and downs with my moods and my energy levels. Because that, and like I said, maybe, there's people out there that could smoke and get shit done and do that, but like I like, maybe it's something that I've always done. Like I like to get high and watch movies. So it's like I see the movies from a different perspective. Certain aspects of it are more funny, and I'm just viewing the movie from like a different perspective. So those are kind of the things I like in doing when I smoke. But
Yeah.
then I noticed that I'm not doing a lot of the other things I should do. And when I'm sober, I do not like just sitting there and doing nothing. I feel like, there's something I could be doing. I could be doing my laundry. I could be doing my meal prep. I could be doing the dishes. I could be doing my laundry, folding the clothes. There's so much I could be doing and just instead of sitting there and just vegging out.
Yeah.
And I noticed that's just how I get to. I get kind of more lazy. Like I was talking to my fiance, I'm like, it's funny. I'm like, the me now is so completely different than the me that was like getting high every day because I just wouldn't do a lot of the things I'm doing now. I wasn't meal prepping, I wasn't working out. Like the dishes, I'd be cool with letting them stay there, overnight, and I'll just do them in the morning or some other time. It wasn't like a big priority to me. But now, I'm in there cooking, and as I'm cooking, I'm like, well, there's dishes there. Let's do the dishes too, so I don't have to do them later. And I'm more I don't want to say proactive, but like I get more shit done for sure being sober.
Yep. And like the saying too, like uh if you're smoking weed out there, you're slower than me. Slower than somebody that's not. You're slower than somebody that's not smoking. So when I was smoking too, there was somebody out there that was doing more than me because I got to go get it. You got to go get
Mhm.
it. So that's you're wasting time. You're a little bit
Yeah.
slower. So someone out there is beating you. Do you want to get beat? Do you want to lose? You're going to lose to somebody. This is a competitious world out there, and you're going to lose to the person they're thinking like, "Oh, it doesn't affect me." Well, it does. You could have it delivered to you, they say, or whatever. But now
Yeah.
you're wasting some of your capital. Now you have less capital
Yeah.
to deploy into more beneficial things. So you know, it's just all around not good. Like, and people say they like it doesn't affect them, but it does because I smoked, you smoke, and I could just totally tell. Like we do get in those modes when you're high, you're just like, I'll just kind of let that go. When
Yeah, you're
you're
just
sober, you're
more
like, no, I'm doing this. I'm gonna do it. Like on it.
you're more complacent. It's
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
you're more okay with
Yeah.
doing nothing. And
Yeah,
I
you might
don't
be. I was very productive when I smoked, but I was very complacent on a lot of things that I would just let go as well. That I'm not when I'm sober and focused.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like when I'm high, I'm like I could like I'm okay with just doing nothing. I could just sit here and then like enjoy the moment. And I'm not saying that you can't do that high, but I feel more fulfilled when I actually get the stuff I need to do done
Hmm.
because it's like I have a sense of accomplishment. And the clothes aren't stacking up, the dishes aren't piling up, like my physique looks a lot better. I feel a lot more energized and just more healthy in general. And those are the things that kind of get neglected when I smoke. So for me, and I'm not saying maybe not everyone is like this, but me personally, I know that I would rather just have a life without it because I have these ups and downs when it's in my life, but when it's not there, it's like everything is like laser focused, and I feel better.
And it's funny too because when I stopped smoking, it was a couple days before my 40th birthday. So that's why I was like, I don't want to smoke into my 40s. I'm already done. Like I've done this so much. Like I know what it feels like. It's
Yeah,
nothing new. Yeah,
yeah,
I do
exactly.
still have like here and there be like just talking about it now. I'm like, yeah, it would be nice to go get like a gummy or something and go watch a concert or something, get a little high and just have fun. And maybe who knows? But I'll do that here and there. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't smoked in so long, but maybe a gummy. But I'm definitely not gonna smoke because I'm worried about my lungs and stuff. But
Hmm.
it's just a thing. Like that's what happens. You get the gummy, and the next thing you know, you want more. And then next thing I do the same thing. And then next thing you know, like, oh, let me get a gummy again. And then one gummy, like that's 10 milligrams, will get you high. And the next time three get you high. And the next time I'll
Yeah,
take all 10 and I won't even get high. So then I'm like, oh, let me smoke. And then I start smoking, I'll get high a little bit. And you're like chasing that high, like you're saying. And then that's what I
yeah,
did
yeah.
last time before I stopped smoking for a long time. And that's
Mhm.
exactly the process that happened. I went with one gummy, then three, then 10, then started smoking.
It just
And then I started
creeps
buying and then I
creeps
started
you back
buying a
in.
fucking vape thing, a little weed vape every
Yeah.
day. Like I would buy, they were like $40, like a day and a half. I'd smoke the whole thing. And then,
Yeah.
then by the time I stopped on August 5th of last year, what happened?
Hmm.
Like I stopped, I was like the last one, almost sitting there trying to hit the last little bit, and I was at Yosemite riding home, and I was wish I had more for the ride home. And like as soon as it was gone, I was like, it's totally gone, it's dead. So I threw it out or whatever, threw it in the trash. And then I was just driving home thinking like, man, I wish I want another hit. I need another hit, like fiending a hit. And the next
Yeah.
day you're like, next day you wake up and you're kind of like, man, I wish you wake up and you're thinking like, man, I need to smoke. Like I need to
Yeah.
smoke again. Like I need a hit. And then, but and you kind of have this irritability and all this other stuff in your
Yeah.
mind. And then it takes a week. And after a week or so, you're like, okay, well, you're kind of getting in a new habit. And then now after it's been 200 and some days, I'm like, I don't even really think about it ever.
Nice. Yeah, one other thing I noticed too that when I do get high is that when I wake up, I'm like groggy. I don't have like
Yes.
a fresh wake up where I'm just like, all right, let's get the day started. I kind of have that. I wake up and I just want to stay in bed. I want to get more sleep. It's just like a lazy, slow wake up. And it's like that
Yeah.
every single time I get high and I go to sleep, I wake up like that. So like
It's a
now
downer.
yeah, exactly. It's almost I wouldn't say it's bad as like a hangover, but
No.
it's definitely you could tell the difference when you go from smoking every day to being sober. Because when I'm sober, when the alarm goes off, I can wake up and roll out of bed and get my day started. But weed, Steven, he does not like to get up. He enjoys the comfort of the bed. He wants to sleep longer. I'm trying to squeeze in 5 more minutes, acting like that's going to do something to help me feel more energized when I wake up. And now I just realize 4 o'clock, I don't need an extra 5, 10, 15 minutes of sleep. It's time to get up. Like, no little amount of sleep is gonna, make you feel that much more energized in the day. Let's get the day going. You need to get to bed earlier if you feel like shit in the morning.
And then you have people like Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg that are very productive. They're millionaires. They're always producing. But then it's like
Yeah.
also too like it's just because is it just because they're well known and like they're already famous? So it's
Hmm.
like once you have that much money and you're that famous, a lot of people do a lot of the things for you. Like they're not editing
Yeah.
the video. It's like, here, come show up at this time and you're high. So you're like, oh, okay, I'm not showing up till 10 o'clock because I'm high. I don't wake up early. I'm showing up at
Yeah.
10 o'clock, walk in there, do my thing. Okay, get on camera, say these few lines. They tell you what to say. Like, so it's kind of like you say it, you do it, and you just go home and you get high. So it's not as really like, oh yeah, you're productive, but it's kind of like it's not as hard work as if you're trying to build up. And so a lot of people in life aren't at Snoop Dogg's level. They're not at Wiz Khalifa's
Yeah.
level, and they're trying to get
Exactly.
ahead. They're trying to pay off their debt, trying to get fit and stuff like that. And weed is probably most likely not going to be the best route for you to try to get up there because it's making you slower. It's making you a little bit more complacent when you should be
Hmm.
attacking everything at all levels. And when I'm at the gym, sometimes I'll like a lot of times actually, when I leave or show up, I'll definitely smell weed in the parking lot. So I know these people are going in there, busting their ass in the gym and coming out there and smoking a joint after. And I'm just thinking like, it's not good for your cardio, but whatever. Like, it's they might think it's like, oh, well, it's not alcohol, it's not no calories in it, so I'm not getting fatter. And I
Yeah.
know people that do that, but
I used to do
if
that.
you're health over everything, maybe you shouldn't be smoking. If anything, like it's not good for your lungs, no matter what. I always say, maybe
Yeah.
cannabis. I know cannabis has a lot of health benefits, no doubt, and THC, like and CBD and stuff like that, can help out. They say some people say it fights cancers and whatever else, but putting smoke into your lungs and building up resin inside your lungs is not good. Maybe the gummies are a little bit different, but it also gets your heart rate up. So now your heart is beating harder, which isn't good. You want your heart not to be beating hard unless it's like doing a cardiovascular workout for a short period of time. If you're sitting there smoking and eating gummies all day, your heart's beating at a high level all day long. And that leads to like heart disease. And that's, like a lot of people are proponents, especially smokers, are proponents for smoking weed as it's good for you. No one's died from it. But you also got to be just realistic. And I was a smoker too, so I know it's definitely leads to heart disease, and it definitely puts, it could lead to COPD from like having so much tar in your lungs and stuff. You can't run as good, so it doesn't make your cardiovascular system as well. So there is downsides to it. It's not just like if like almost anything has a downside to it, if you look at it totally. But
Yeah.
it's just people act like it's like the holy grail of like everything, which is not. And so you got to think about these things when you're doing it because it's not if you're not doing it and you could live life without it, it's probably more healthier for you, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like the I don't like feeling too like I need something to like elevate my life or like how it is like I think if you once you get to the point where you learn how to be happy without it,
Yeah.
there's almost no point of going back to.
Uh-huh. And then
And you,
so go ahead. Finish your
oh
thought.
god.
Okay.
Oh, that's all I was gonna say is it's just like once you get to the point where you're happy without it, it's like what like why even go back? Yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
Okay, and we also wanted to talk about this viral thing that was going online of
Oh,
Seth
yeah.
Rogen. Seth Rogen has a meme that when it came out, like he said this over a year ago, it just making its rounds again. Sometimes the
Uh
internet brings up the past and
yeah.
it makes its rounds again, right? So effectively, what he said was, "I love not having a child because I get to sit in bed on Saturday hanging out with my girlfriend naked, watching movies and smoking weed." And
Mm,
that's what he said, right? And a
yeah.
lot of people are pushing pushback on him, saying he's a 41-year-old man sitting there saying that smoking weed is great, pretty much, and not having a kid. A lot of people are saying, like, oh, the kids are fulfilling, and I love hanging out with my kid on
Yeah.
Saturday. So he's just saying, like, you're a 41-year-old man sitting there smoking weed, smoking three or at a time. Like, I'm smoking three at one time,
The
like acting like you're,
trifecta.
yeah, like acting like you're cool and stuff. And a lot of people are pushing back on that, saying he's lame. Like, dude, you're lame, bro. You're 41
Yeah.
years old, which obviously he's successful. He's a
Yeah.
millionaire. And
Exactly.
like the same thing I was going with when I was talking about Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg. You know, but he's a writer. He produces. He does a lot of things, and he's successful. Not everyone is going to be like that by smoking weed all day. But the thing is, though, I was actually watching a video clip last night of Candace Owens talking to a 35-year-old man that was promoting like being a hoe and all this stuff for these girls and living your life. And she was saying, like, okay, if you're a 20-year-old, I could totally understand you saying this. But if you're a 35-year-old man, at some point you gotta know that, okay, this isn't gonna help you when you're 40s and 50s. You got to be mature. You got to grow the fuck up at some time and be like, is this the image that you want to promote and sell? Like you're some sort of like 20-year-old college student that's out there smoking weed and having fun and just living up life. You know, you're an
Yeah.
adult now. Be an adult. Start making right decisions. Know that if you have a platform that people are looking up to you, that you might think that weed is the most greatest thing ever. But do you have to promote that to 20-year-olds knowing that they might get an addiction? They might get tar in their lungs, they get COPD or heart disease later on. You're more mature. Like, yes, if you still love smoking, handle it, do your job, do your business, but promoting it to the youth, especially when you're someone like Seth Rogen and you're out there thinking, you have a lot of influence. Some people might actually smoke because of you, and so you're like, is
Yeah.
that doing them a disservice? Is it not? Like, so that was kind of the main thing I got from it. Like, you were a grown ass man, you're 41 years old, you look old, you kind of look like shit a little bit. Like, is that because you're high like all the time? Like, do your hair up a little bit.
Could be.
Look presentable. Like, trim your beard up a little bit. You're looking like some sort of homeless person smoking weed and out there saying how cool it is, and people are looking up to you. And I don't know, it just kind of like off-putting to a lot of people, him saying that, and especially with the kid thing. I don't have a kid either, but that's totally fine. Some people might not want kids,
Yeah.
but you're over there saying like, "Oh, I don't have kids, so I get to sit there and smoke weed and play video games all day at 41 years old." It's
Yeah.
like, okay. I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah, I kind of have the agree with you. I was thinking pretty much the same thing where it's like, yeah, well, if you are Seth Rogen, you have millions of dollars, like maybe you could afford to just do nothing and lounge about and enjoy your day essentially. But in my state of mind, I'm like, I feel like by doing that, like you're not growing into your potential. I'm like you're leaving shit on the table that you could be getting done, but you're choosing to just veg out and do nothing, which is what like I just can't get behind that. Like the old me, yeah, fine. But I would rather put my time into, working out and building myself and just trying to push myself into like a better version of myself. Because I don't know, for this I just feel like it's a more fulfilling life by like smashing a workout or going for a run, like pushing yourself to do hard shit. And I'm not saying that he doesn't do any kind of hard shit. Maybe his acting is, puts stress on him and he's fulfilled in those aspects. But me personally, I can't relate to like trying to be a good actor. So like I want to make sure my health is on point. I want to make sure I'm healthy, my physique is good, my
Yeah.
mental clarity is there. Like those things are important to me and have value. And I just feel that smoking weed would diminish those things. I would, maybe even if I was still growing in those positive directions, it still wouldn't be the potential that it could be growing in.
Yes, and
So
also too, like you think Seth Rogen, no matter what level you're at in life, you can always get better. You can always get more fulfilled. You could, there's millions of people, billions of people in this world that you can help, and and you're saying smoke weed. That's your whole entire message. You're
yeah.
41 years old. You don't want a kid. You don't want a kid, Seth Rogen. Okay, that's fine. But you're gonna just sit around smoking weed and promoting that instead of going out there and coming to the next level. Like we're talking about, there's always another video game. There's always a next level
Yeah.
to get to. So you're wasting time. If you don't have a kid, this would be the perfect time to have so much time on your hands to go out there and impact the world even more in a better way and keep elevating yourself. But you're over here smoking weed, playing video games, and promoting that. So all I got to say about that is, fuck you, Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I agree with that too. It's just like, especially when the message is getting relayed to the younger kids, it's like you shouldn't be spending all your money and just smoking and just vegging out with your day. Like it's not the best you can be. And that's kind of in my state of mind right now is I want to be the best version of myself. And it took me, I did my partying when I was in my 20s and up into my 30s or whatever.
Hmm.
But I just think that message isn't a good message for the younger generation. It's going to
Yeah,
make
me
them more
neither. That's not our
complacent.
message.
Yeah, it's going to make them more lazy. It's going to make them, yeah, just have no reason to really grow and to better themselves. They just want to sit there, smoke weed, and watch movies and play video games. Like I can understand why you would want to do that, but like
Yeah.
at the same time, I think you would have a more fulfilling and positive life if you took that energy and
Yep.
put it into something that's going to benefit you, your health, your wealth, things like that. And health is wealth. So if you do
Yeah.
your health, it's like a double
Health
whammy.
over everything. Yeah, and that's the thing. Our message is not that. We smoked and we drank in our whole younger life, like a lot. We
Yeah.
did it excessively. And maybe if we had a positive influence at that time, we wouldn't have done that. And we would be much farther ahead. Some say, oh, it's
Yeah.
great memories. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Go ham and all that. But is it? I don't know. We didn't live that life, the better life, the other life when we are younger. But now that we're older and mature, like at some point, you got to grow the fuck up. And
Hmm.
that's what we've done. We've grown the fuck up, and now we know, like, this is a fun life too. There's so much more fulfilling things you could do. And maybe we can influence people. The Health Over Everything podcast, the Health Over Everything lifestyle, the whole life is a different message. So maybe someone out there younger can hear this message and relate, like not get into the smoking weed, the opposite of what Seth Rogen wants. And then they could actually, um, you know, increase our life in a much better way, have much better health, much better clarity, much better focus, much better go get it. Because like we say, like now we're like, hey, we wish we didn't do that. We would have been so much farther in life. I maybe wouldn't have to work right now. I'd already be retired.
Yeah.
Got so much money in the bank. We want to level up. We want to get better. And when you're younger, we don't promote smoking weed, being a degenerate, being a fuck up, going out there and doing stupid things, getting DUIs, hurting other people, not giving a fuck, having a bad attitude. We don't promote that. We promote doing all the opposite of that so you can level up and be a better player in this game of life and be something that's a better society, better for all your friends, better for your family, be an example to your kids, your brothers, your mom and dad, be an inspiration to people. And this is what we're about, and this is what we're trying to do. And we hope to promote that to the children. And I think someone that's 40 years old should do that. I see so many people that are 40, almost 40, 30, late 30s or whatever, and they're totally opposite of that. They just never grew up and they're still
Yeah.
having a bad attitude. They talk like shit. They cuss. They don't know how to talk to people right. And just everything about them is just a total put off and turn off. And it's like, dude, you're acting like you're like an 18-year-old still. Like grow up, like,
Yeah.
and this is what we're told. We don't promote that degenerate lifestyle like Seth Rogen does.
Yeah. And just think about it. If you were 20 years old, let's just say 20 to 40, if you spent every weekend going to a bar and clubbing every single weekend for 20 years, like what kind of life do you expect to have at the end of that? But if you spent those 20 years every weekend instead of going out, you're working on your health, you're working on a business, you're working on something. Like think about those two different life paths. Which one do you think is going to be more positive? One, you're probably going to be an alcoholic. Your body's probably going to be shit. Your liver's going to be shot.
You could die.
Or you spent this other life building something, and then you could, if you want, when you're 40, you can have, go to a club or some shit. But you're never going to get those 20 years back. So how you
No.
invest that time into your life, I didn't think about it when I was younger, and I didn't have anyone telling me like, "Oh, you
Mhm.
shouldn't be drinking every weekend." And honestly, I probably wouldn't have listened anyways because I was just doing my own goddamn thing.
Yeah.
But
Well, your influences were your environment, and because we
yeah,
didn't have social media like that, and a lot of people in our environment was people that did the same thing we did.
yeah, exactly. I think maybe the only person that was telling me I drank too much was my sister. And I just couldn't hear it. I was doing my own thing. Like, what are you fucking
Yeah.
talking about? I'm having fun. It's not that big of a deal,
Mhm.
but it is in the grand scheme of things. You don't think it
Yeah.
is,
She was
but
right all along.
took me 20 years to realize it, but
Yeah, and then I'm over here under your bad influences. My name used to be like, oh, let's go drink. Like, fuck your sister. Fuck what she
yeah,
says. Like, I understand what she's saying, but we're going out and drinking and having fun, like so,
yeah.
so it's just bad all around. But yeah, like you're
Yeah,
saying,
and that's probably why we do have the opinions that we do is because we live that party lifestyle, and we're
it wasn't worth it.
a couple of the people that were able to kind of get away from it and stop it before it like I'm sure it had some sort of negative impact on our health, but we were able to stop in time for it to where we're dying of liver cirrhosis
Yeah.
because there's people around our age range that have died because they
Yeah.
drank too much. So it's
Yep.
like we're at an age now that things are catching up to people. And
Yeah.
if you don't change the direction that you're going in, you're gonna fucking end up right where you're heading. And it's very hard to fucking stop those habits once you get into it. So if you
Yeah.
could not build them when
Very
you're
hard.
young, you're just gonna be better off and have a more positive life or more likely to have a positive life in the end than if you're just fucking partying every weekend. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I talked to somebody recently yesterday. He said that he knows somebody that's 28 years old that's dying. He's about to die
Yeah.
of liver cirrhosis because he would just wake up every day, grab a hard liquor bottle, and just drink it all day. Said he just drink nothing but liquor. So it could get into that depths of despair. And like if you really think about it, alcohol in general, like besides the smoking we're talking about, like is bad for you with your lungs and all that stuff. But alcohol in general, like how many people beat their wives or girlfriend or their boyfriends? How many people drink and drive? How many people get in accidents? How many people say things to people they love that they didn't mean? Like there's a lot of bad things that happen with alcohol. That's
Yeah.
that your life is just can spiral out of control. And then once the bad thing happens, you actually drink more because you're depressed because you said it and you just want to forget that you said it. So it's a downward spiral. But then, like you're saying, it fucks up your liver and all this other things too. So it's really bad, especially when you get heavily into it. And people just
Yeah.
think it's like, and they glamorize it like, oh, it's fun. It's always a good time. But it's like a kind of thing like you think yourself as having a great time, but you look like a sloppy drunk that's slurring the words, saying bad things at people. They always say the truth comes out when you're drunk, and you say things
Yeah.
to people that you never would say when you're sober, and you do things. You might go sleep with somebody that you don't even know, and you could have a disease after that. You could have a sexual transmitted disease. You could get in a car and your first thing you go is your judgment. You can get in an accident, kill somebody. You could wake up in jail the next day for murder, and now you're in jail for your rest of your life. You can slap your girlfriend and she calls the cops, and boom, now you have a domestic dispute on you. Like, these things happen all the fucking time with alcohol.
Yeah.
But if you're sober, you kind of control that more, and you don't do these things. I'm not slapping nobody when I'm chilling, like I'm never getting that level because I'm using my rational brain, so
Yeah.
and alcohol destroys a lot of people's lives, and
Yeah.
and not even including just with the health issues with smoking and drinking.
Yeah, it's funny looking back to in hindsight, it sounds stupid now, but I remember back in the day, it was almost like a badge of honor to be like, man, I drank so much last night. I was so fucked up. I can't remember anything. Like that does not sound like fun now, but back in the
Yeah,
day, it was almost like a thing. Who could get the most fucked up? Who could drink the most alcohol? Like, and we would
exactly.
like brag to each other about it, like who got more fucked up, and
Yep.
I don't know, totally different life. I'm glad that I got it out of my system because
Yeah.
there are people I know that are our age who didn't get to party when they were younger, and now they want to party in their 40s. And I
Yeah, I
just
see
think
that.
your 40-year-old body cannot handle it like your 20-year-old
Oh
body.
no. Yeah. Yeah, definitely don't want to get in that lifestyle in the 40s.
So I'm glad I got I got it out of my system. If I could have done things differently, I don't know if I would or not because I am the person I am today because of everything that I've done in my past. So I
Yeah,
kind of accepted it. Like I'm
true.
at a good place. I'm happy with where I'm at.
We
Um,
just don't promote that. We grew up and we just don't promote that degenerate lifestyle now to anybody because it just
yeah,
seems
exactly.
irresponsible as an adult to do that. Would you want your kid to go out there and get drunk and maybe drive and do the things we did? Fuck no. I'm like
Yeah,
thinking like
exactly.
I'll be worried as shit. Like, oh, you're drinking. If he's doing anything that I'm doing, like there's a risk he might die today. So
Yeah,
it's just like, is he driving to all the way down to
exactly.
TJ and driving home drunk back? Like, oh
And
man.
now that, I have a son, I'm
That's what I'm
glad
saying. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sober, so he doesn't have to, see me being all sloshed and acting like a fucking sloppy drunk, being, and I was overweight. So now he sees me working out. He tells me, "Oh, Daddy, can I do a pull up every time you walk by the pull up bar?" It's like I hope that I'm instilling these little good, healthy habits in his little brain because
Little
my dad never
brain.
worked out, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
never like health and fitness wasn't on my radar at all, but
Yeah.
it's in my son's because he sees me doing a lot of the shit that I do. He sees me
Yeah.
working out, he sees me doing my cold plunge, he sees me eating good. And he even like the other day I picked him up from school and he was telling me he got like some apples. He's like, I'm like, oh, did they put like, are those from like kids who don't want to eat the apples? I think they put them into a box and other kids could grab them. He's like, yeah. He's like, I got two bags of apples, and he was all excited about it. He's like, I saw a goldfish in there too, but he's like, but I didn't want to eat those because I want to be healthy and get muscle. And
Uh,
see, I'm like, he's already saying stuff like that. So like,
yeah.
hopefully, what I'm doing and the things he sees are benefiting, his little mind at a
Yeah.
young age. So he
And
has
not
those.
smoking too.
Yeah. I've never smoked in front of him. I was very even, when I was smoking, I would never let
Oh,
him
okay.
see me do it. So he's never
Yeah.
seen that from me. So
And it's always good just to tell them too, like kind of like, oh, see someone smoking and tell them just like, hey, these are the bad influence. This is why it's bad. So then it's not just like when you get older, like a teenager and something, someone's like, you want to smoke? It's like, yeah, I'll smoke because I have no clue of anything bad about it because no one's ever
yeah,
told me. But you kind of like see that person over there smoking, their lungs are getting really bad and like they can't breathe. It's really bad. So then they kind of be like, oh, okay. So then when they get older and be like, hey, you want to smoke? And they're like, no, because that's gonna fuck up my lungs, because
yeah,
my dad told me all the bad things, instead of just like trying to like just ignore it and like don't tell him anything about it at all. Like obviously you don't want him seeing you smoking, but you could
yeah,
point it out when someone else is smoking, like, oh, look at that, or just be like, oh, let's get away from this person. Like let's say someone's smoking a cigarette, oh, let's go get over here. We're gonna move over here. Like, you know why we moved over here? Because that smoke is like you don't want it in your lungs, and you tell them why, kind of explain it so they can know a little bit so they're prepared when they turn 15, 16, 17. And then it could be like, okay, like so, yeah, you want to hit the cigarette, like their friend, and be like, oh
yeah,
no, because like it's gonna make my lungs, and then you can't have a fulfilling life. You're gonna die. You're being cancer. Look at this person. You can even show them like, look at this person dying of cancer. Maybe it's too young for that. Like this is what
yeah,
happens, and I'm like, oh damn, do you want that to happen to you? No, the person that used to have the commercials with the girl with the hole in the throat, smoking the
yeah,
cigarette, it's just kind of showing them like, hey, this is what happens.
yeah. I've had talks with him already. I just told him I call them adult drinks. I was
Yeah.
like, my daddy when he was younger, he drank too many of the adult drinks and it ended up, killing him.
Now he's dead,
Um, Now
as
he's dead.
Stevie said.
And I basically tell him, I'm like, well, that's why I don't drink them anymore, is because, I want to be here as long as I can for you.
Yeah.
And so at least he has a concept of what it is. And when he sees other people doing it, he doesn't necessarily have to think, oh, like it's a good thing or I should be doing that. Now he has,
Oh,
I'm planting the seeds that like maybe that isn't a healthy thing for you to do. And he's still young, so there's only so much I can tell him. But as he gets older,
yeah, exactly.
I'll talk about it in more detail and hopefully give him a lifelong lesson. Like especially for us, I feel like in our family, like it's not good. Like my dad died from it. I didn't have a good relationship with alcohol, so chances are, if he gets into it, he's probably going to be similar to how I am. And if I could help him avoid that, then, I'm gonna do whatever I can to do that.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So the challenges of smoking, like we were talking about that a little bit, but like I hope you guys are out there. If you are smoking, you guys could just stop and like, it's challenging, but there's many different ways. We didn't really talk too much about the challenges of like how do you stop, but you know, just try as best you can. But we're gonna switch gears here to finish up the podcast to or just our working out. Like we were talking before this podcast started about our backs and our knees. Like
Mhm.
like I've been running. My goal is to run 366 miles this year. But like I ran a marathon last month and that was 26 miles, but my left knee is giving me fits. I don't know if it has like some swelling in it or what, but like even like just running a mile with some of it walking, like I'm walking half of it and jogging the rest of it, my knee is just really hurting. So with this fast and not going to the gym for 2 days, trying to rest it a little bit. So I didn't run these last 2 days, and this is the third day. I go to the gym after. I'm gonna go to the gym later on today, back to the gym, but I'm not gonna work out my leg that much, and it's
Right.
just my knees hurting. But like my back used to hurt a lot too, but now I'm like noticing that I've been losing weight, and I've been doing a lot of sit-ups lately. That my back is actually feeling better. Like you were saying off camera that you didn't even notice it, and it's funny because you don't
Yeah.
notice it when it doesn't hurt. You only notice things that hurt. So it's like you almost forget
Yeah.
you forget that your back even hurt because it doesn't hurt. But as soon as it starts hurting, you're like, oh, you'll definitely know that. That's what pain does. It's like
Yeah,
it's an alert
exactly.
system saying. But that's crazy though. Just like working out and like living a healthier lifestyle. I don't know if it's also the food too and the nutrients coming in there and repairing some of the stuff as well. But I think that has something to do with it. And also just doing the sit ups, building up your core is
Hmm.
like, like you were saying, like helps out all the other muscles. And so I don't know. With my knee, it still hurts. Like my back hasn't been hurting as much. Like I've been doing much better at work, balling out, making money because now I could work a lot easier. My back hasn't been hurting, but my knee still hurts. So I don't know if I was thinking maybe I have to go to a physical therapist or something as well. Like just check out that knee. Like something's wrong with it because I might have to start biking instead of running. I don't know.
Less impact for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, should I quit my goal or not? Like, because I was like, I don't know. I'll just
But
keep
yeah, you
going through it and
haven't.
see how it works out. I might have to not make the goal, which would be disappointing to me, and
Yeah.
just go to biking. But we'll see. Like, maybe I go to the physical therapist first and check it out and see what's wrong with my knee.
Yeah, unless you just try to walk it instead of running or like
Yeah.
speed walk it,
Yeah. Just get it done
less
somehow.
than less impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny because on my birthday, my fiance's brother was like, "Oh, how's your back feeling?" And I'm like, "You know what? It's actually feeling good." I was like, when I first started working out, I would notice when I would do certain ab exercises that my lower back, I would have pain in it. But now, like, I haven't thought about it because there's
Yeah.
no pain in my back. And
Uh,
like we were discussing off camera, is that I was like, in my mind, this is how I'm making sense of it. It's like, if your back doesn't have the muscle to kind of stabilize it and support it, it's probably gonna take more work out of those specific weaker muscles. But once you start working out and building the muscle around it stronger, it could stabilize and support that area more. So now it takes the strain off of those areas that have the pain, and that's what makes sense in my mind. I'm like, maybe I'm building more muscle, so it's helping with the other areas that are weak, help compensating for it. But I'm like, damn, I feel fucking good. Like my knees don't hurt, my back doesn't hurt, my wrist hurts, but that's some sort of other issue that I've
yeah.
had.
Arthritis.
That's a long-term thing. I'm always gonna have that. And it's actually been hurting a little bit. I'm like, fuck, don't fucking flare up on me because that shit sucks. But
Yeah. Don't want
I'm
that.
just trying to work around it and just trying to do the best I can with the fucking tools that I got.
And I think movement also helps out too because like I'm at work moving around, like how we working out more. If you're just
Mhm.
living a sedentary lifestyle and laying around, your back's gonna hurt because your back's not meant to be laying like in that position. Because just this weekend when I'm on my fast, I did an extra long sleep and I was just in bed just chilling. My back
Mhm.
started hurting a little bit. Like it started becoming like tense and tight and stuff. And so what I do, I got up and I'm not at the gym, but I did do a 25-minute yoga. There's this
Oh,
yoga with
nice.
Adriene. Her name's Yoga with Adriene. She's pretty good. She's a pro at what she does. She's had a YouTube channel for a long time and a lot of followers. So check her out, Yoga with Adriene. So I put her YouTube video on and did some
Mhm.
yoga with her for 25 minutes. And then my back felt a lot better just by
Nice.
stretching it out, like getting that movement in. So getting movement and yoga and like, working out your core and eating the right things can help your back out a lot. So those are some tips, do some yoga, get some movement. Don't say sedentary. Don't say in one spot. Lose some weight. A lot of people having back problems because they're just overweight. Like even me, like I'm still like even just a little bit. Like you don't think that you're overweight if you look like a relatively skinny. You still might be overweight, and that's too much weight on your bones. So check out what that is. But
Yeah.
it's just also the muscles. Like you want to build up your stomach muscles, your core muscles, your side of your stomach. Maybe do some back workouts and get your back workout out. And then the same thing with the knee. Like the knee, it's the kneecap. What you have the hamstring, you have the quads, and you have your lower leg muscles, they all go into the knee. So by
Yeah.
strengthening those every time you step and or run, it's gonna, you're using more of the strength, the strong muscles, and it's not, if you don't have those muscles, it's just all on your kneecap, and then your knee gets worse. So I'm also trying to build up my leg muscles. I've been doing a lot more leg days lately, trying to build up those
Nice.
quads, and I'd already have pretty good muscles in my legs, so that's what's trying to trip me out.
Yeah. You got the
So
calves for sure.
so I'm just hoping something like with your wrist isn't with my knee. I don't want no long-term arthritis. So I'm hoping this, maybe some rest and maybe some, I don't know what I have to do. Maybe I have to go through surgery. I kind of feel like when I extend my leg that there's like a bump there. Like it might be like some sort of like need some draining or something. I don't know. I've been putting ice on
I've
it.
seen Goggins do have
Yeah.
something like that done.
That's what I got the idea from, like Goggins, because I'm like, maybe it's just some draining, but I don't know. I really need to fix this left knee so I could continue running, but just I need to go get some money saved up and go check it out, because I need my knee. Your knees is the most important thing.
Yeah.
I love hiking, love running, and I don't want to, you know, I want to live that healthy lifestyle and keep it going. So you don't want to push through it and damage it either. Like, yeah, because I'm thinking
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
thinking like, oh, I need to get the 366. I'm just going to push through it and get it done. Well, it's like also too, it's like you want to get the goal done, but you don't want to damage anything long term. So that's
Yeah.
another thing I'm looking at.
Yeah, you don't want that shit to backfire on you. Like, oh, I knew I should have went to the doctors, but I didn't. Now I'm
Exactly.
gonna be fucked up for, you could do some actual permanent damage to it.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah. So all in all, we're doing good. Like we're actually back on the horse. Like, we made it. He started smoking earlier this year, smoking weed again. Steven did. I started getting off my diet. We both fell off in the January and February, but today's daylight saving time. We get more sunlight. That means more.
Woo!
That means more positivity because you're less depressed. So it's like,
Yeah, more
yeah, more,
sun.
yeah, more, get more shit done. You go to the gym in the daytime now. Like, I don't know, it's just much better. Summer's coming. Got to get that body up. We're back. We're both of us are back in full force. You could just tell, and
Yeah.
it's good. We're getting our muscles back. Getting like, I'm already feeling like that after this fast. I'm looking at me. I'm like, oh, I'm getting skinny again. Like, because I was starting to get a little fat there, and I'm like, oh man. So now I'm looking at myself. I'm like, oh, I'm actually getting fat, and I think I actually have more muscle too. So like, it looks like
Nice.
I'm skinnier, but I'm a little bit heavier because I think I got more muscle as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep it on that the healthy lifestyle, the whole life.
Yep. Health over everything.
Yes, sir. So anything else you want to add before we leave?
I think we covered everything.
All righty, guys. Make sure you guys all like and subscribe and share with one of your friends. We're on X. If you want to watch it, you go on X or our Health Over Everything on our X, or you can watch it on YouTube. Or if you just want to listen to it, you can listen to it on Amazon, Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And go to SoCalGoulah.com if you want to buy any Health Over Everything shirts or hats or anything. SoCalGoulah.com. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Got some information, learned something, share it with a friend so they could get better. Because we're all about not living that degenerate lifestyle like Seth Rogen does, trying to get better and get to the next level. And as soon as we get to the next level, we're getting to the next level after that. So that's all for today. I'm SoCal Goulah. Peace out.